getting banned from YouTube for this particular live broadcast. Let's see who shows up. We'll wait a moment while see if we get any live people out of nearly 1,700 subscribers, which isn't really a whole lot. Pardon me, I'm covered in cat hair. Um, I'm very puzzled by the police waiting outside an hour. That doesn't add up. And then not allowing anyone else into the building who might have tried to make a difference. Hey there, hope you're doing all right. Um, let's see if I can see. It doesn't show me the chat. I wonder why. Anyhow, this thing leaves me with a lot of questions. I mean, the police were outside for an hour, which makes absolutely no rational sense. Uh, then there's the fact that they're showing old pictures of the shooter, not current pictures that show that this individual was apparently transgender, some kind of cross dresser or something. Uh, guess they don't want people to know that. Then there's the fact that he was unemployed, but arrived with $10,000 or $12,000 worth of gear while driving a $70,000 truck. And of course, they're going to tell us the shooter acted alone. Lone wolf, as always. I don't know about you, but I'm a little puzzled at how we get so many mass shooters that have expensive equipment while being unemployed. Like, remember the Batman shooter? He's wearing $20,000 worth of gear while unemployed and broke, and somehow managed to force open a door that later on showed no damage, which means somebody let him in. So this is very, very puzzling. How does an unemployed person have a brand new $70,000 truck and two rifles? First they said they had handguns. Now they're saying rifles because the government wants to ban AR-15s. So we don't even know if that part's true. But assuming it's true, that type of AR-15 is kind of hard to come by outside of federal law enforcement. Make of that what you will. But the bottom line here is somebody make this make sense. I'm not even offering any particular conspiracy theory or whatever, because the moment you say conspiracy theory, people throw out whatever you're saying. Somebody make this crap make sense. How does someone who's unemployed and has no money have $5,000 worth of rifles, ammunition, optics, which are also gear, and a $70,000 pickup truck? Can somebody make this make sense? The only thing that actually makes sense is that this person had help. And like I said, we've had too many mass shootings where a broke person has thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear that they couldn't have possibly afforded on their own. And in this case, they even got a $70,000 truck. Where'd they get that? Maybe somebody on the left can come on the broadcast and explain to me how this is possible. Because I'm employed and I don't have a $70,000 truck. I want to know that secret. How do I get a $70,000 truck without having any money? Because I could use a truck. Just saying. Uh, Sarcasm aside, what they'll do is they'll use emotionalism and say, "How can you say this at a time? You'd be disrespecting the victims, whatever." They'll say that to keep you from being rational about it, to keep you from using your thinking sauce, as it were, because you're just going to be concerned with how tragic this is and how awful it is, and how, but we're not going to ask why no one was allowed into the building and why the cops stayed out of the building for an hour. Does that make any sense at all? A building where they could have easily outflanked this person. Did you notice that police didn't do any waiting when they needed to shut down that family restaurant 2 years ago here in Texas that just wanted to be open in the middle of a lockdown? And they rolled up on them with a tank. Am I the only one who remembers that? That when it comes to stopping people from exercising their freedom, the police will show up in force and with guns drawn and ready to fire. But somebody's shooting up a bunch of little kids, they're going to wait outside till it's done. Have you figured out yet that they're not really on our side? This doesn't make any sense. And to me, the most salient detail is the $70,000 truck. Because at this point, I don't really believe that they had any AR-15s. That's a little too convenient, especially when the original story is that they had some handguns. How do people not tell the difference between handguns and AR-15s? The size alone is a significant difference. They're two different styles of weapon, very different. Even someone who doesn't know anything about guns can tell the difference between a rifle and a handgun. So for me, that's a red flag that someone's not telling us the truth. So we're already being lied about this, and I said this yesterday on Facebook that I'm just sitting waiting for this to start having plot holes, and I lost the two people I had on here. I guess I like what I had to say. Not surprising, because we're all so conditioned to go along with whatever narrative is being given to us, and we're so conditioned to engage in exactly the emotional response that they want from us. And this comes exactly at the time when people were starting to point out that the data that came from pain is an autoimmune blistering disease. You call it monkeypox. People were starting to point that out, and now we have something that is going to occupy the headlines for the next little while, and everyone's going to forget that the truth about monkeypox is probably being caused by the vax. And I'm taking a risk of losing my channel for saying that. And if I lose my channel, you're going to know that what I said was probably true. That I'm probably right. And of course, the church is going along with the narrative. Church leaders are going along with the narrative as much as they claim to have all this discernment, especially the ones who claim to be prophets, who claim to have spiritual insight and a direct line to God, and God talks to them all the time. They never see through this stuff. That the general, the leadership of the church is part of the system. Because how is it? Is it merely a coincidence that they always go along with whatever narrative we're being spoon fed? No matter how ridiculous that narrative is, and no matter how much that narrative does not make any sense. No sense for an unemployed person who has no money of their own. There we go. We're back. Having connection problems already. Imagine my shock. But how does a broke person without a job, without any income, have a $70,000 truck? And at 18 years old, they sure don't have the credit to go and get one for no money down. No dealer in the right mind is going to going to finance a $70,000 truck to an 18-year-old who has no job. You see what I'm getting at? And I have a feeling they're not really going to look into who that truck is registered to, who got the truck, where the truck come from. It's going to be that the shooter acted alone. Because they did the same thing with the Vegas shooting, and every witness who contradicted the official narrative is now dead. I think that's just a coincidence. Every witness. Because in that situation, the guy would have had to remove an 800-pound panel of glass by himself without anyone noticing and without dropping it. And there's really there's no way that's physically possible for one human being to do that by themselves. Even the world's strongest man wouldn't be able to do that because he'd have to hold it at an angle, twist it, and then bring it into the window. That's going to be physically uh, impossible for anyone with even tremendous human strength to do. Simply because at that angle, it's going to feel a lot heavier than 800 pounds. Yeah. And even if you had the strength to hold that kind of weight, you'd still need something to counterbalance it, or you're going to fall out. Even if you're, you know, that guy that won World's Strongest Man before, the guy that was the Mountain on Game of Thrones, 6'9", 400-pound man, he's going to tip out that window trying to hold something that weighs 800 pounds. It's physically impossible for that guy to have acted alone. But the official narrative is he acted alone. And the narrative for this one will be that they acted alone, and the church is going to go along with it, as they always do. Why does that matter? If our leaders cannot discern things that are clearly lies, that are very obviously not true, how can we rely upon them to navigate all the other deception in the world? Somebody make this make sense. Anyhow, my connection sucks, but my 2 cents in here, I'm not going to present any particular theory, because as it is, I'm probably going to get banned from YouTube for even having this broadcast at all. But I will say this, it doesn't make any sense. There's no way that an unemployed person can buy a $70,000 truck on their own or have all this thousands of dollars worth of gear. Whatever narrative they come up with, it won't be the truth. Brother Sam, signing out.